Now, the Advertising Association of Ghana has expressed concern over the ongoing billboard demolition exercise in the Greater Accra region, calling on President John Mahama and the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs to intervene and restore order. Well, the association released a statement on Friday, February 13, and we are fortunate to have the president of the Advertising Association of Ghana, Mr. Andrew Ackah, who's joining us on Zoom right now. Hello, good evening to you, Mr. Ackah. If you can hear me, you say that you support proper regulation and sanity in your space, but tell us why you are against this particular demolition.
Good evening to you and your viewers. We have been making this call for over 2 decades to the authorities that we need to sanitize our streets, we need to sanitize our cities, and then also add some sort of aesthetics, so that it's not just a billboard to advertise, but the street furniture also adds to the beauty of the city. So we have been on this call for a long time. However, when it comes to sitting down and agreeing on a plan of action that would permanently lead to the decluttering of billboards, we find that we are left in the dark. And all of a sudden, even though we'll be making these calls and be asking that we sit down and have a proper plan where all stakeholders are going to be on board, we agree the plan and we support with equipment and tools and technology so that we can help to declutter. We are left in the dark. And all of a sudden we see billboards that are marked, and there's no plan to say that this billboard is legal or this billboard is illegal. And we see, certain entities, we don't know their names yet, going down and just cutting down billboards, indiscriminately. And we think that this is against the professional practice of what we do. And so on Tuesday, we are holding a press conference where we are going to exhibit to the nation exactly the plan that we have in place. We have numerous dozens of reports that depicts what is happening on our streets. We have data, we have information that we are going to exhibit to you and your other colleagues, so that you can see the real state, the sorry state of haphazard billboards in our cities, be it Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Tamale. All these places are being fraught with a lot of what we call metal sticking out everywhere in Accra and Kumasi, in our major cities.
Mr. Ackah, you talk about selective enforcement in this particular demolition that we are seeing, but do you have concrete evidence to prove the selectiveness in there?
If you don't do things properly, you leave room for a lot of people to make speculations. And so what we see on the ground is what we are actually addressing. There's a guideline called the GS 847 2019 second edition, which was put together under the auspices of Ghana Standard Boards. It's an 80-page document. Tomorrow we're going to make it available, on Tuesday, available to you and the other colleagues to read it. It's an 80-page document that spells out exactly what should happen before a billboard is mounted. If you look at that document, you'll be surprised to know that about 80% of the billboards that we have on our streets today are all illegal, because they flout the very guidelines that all these institutions, not just standard boards, the association was there, Ghana Roads and Highway Authority, KUNUST, Institute of Surveyors, Institute of Ghana Engineers, all these very important bodies came together to put the guidelines together. And it is supposed to help the MMDAs in executing their mandate before they issue the permit. Unfortunately, what you see on the ground, if you're to compare what is in the guideline, what is on the ground, it tells you that something has gone amiss. Now, if something has gone amiss, what you do is that you call all parties involved, all parties that matter to this, especially those in the outdoor space and those who have organized themselves within the AAG, to sit down, look at the plan, because there's no plan. That's why we think that this is selective. There's no plan that has been shared with us. We are not we are serving on a committee that was set up, but the committee has not finished its job. We are asking for certain things, certain representation on the committee. We haven't heard a word. Then all of a sudden, billboards are being marked, and we do not know who is pulling out these billboards. because no one wants to own the responsibility.
I'm happy you talked about the streets being flooded by illegal billboards, you say, but why does it have to take the regional minister's office to take in this particular enforcement?
If you look at the laws, it is governed by the laws that set up the MMDAs, right? So the law is in their bosom. They have the right to issue permits, just like they issue permits for buildings. And before they do that, they need to go through the Ghana building code. And all these are spelled out in the guidelines. So it is the MMDAs who should be answering these questions, why over the years they have allowed what we call charlatans and faceless individuals and institutions. We don't know who they are, because they do not even mark their boards for you to know this billboard belongs to company A, B, or C, or D. If you look at most of our members, they mark their boards. So you see the name of the company there. So when there's an issue, you can address it with that particular company. Unfortunately, that is not what we see around. And by our count, and we stated this on record, about 70% of the billboards are illegal because they do not go by the guidelines. And about 85 to 95 of these billboards are not marked. So we do not know who owns these billboards.
Okay, speaking about enforcement and pointing out to the MMDAs for the purposes of education, if you can tell us what specifically your mandates are as the Association of Advertisers.
So this even leads to a greater call that we have been making as an association. As you know, association is not an authority. We organize ourselves because there was lack of any law that governs advertising, except the ones related to food and drugs, which is in the Public Health Act, which the Food and Drugs Authority is executing. But anything else within the advertising space is not regulated, so we don't have laws. If you look at our sister country, Nigeria, their first law was enacted in 1988. And they have developed it to the point that that law actually governs. And if you've been to Lagos lately, you see how clean the city looks because there's law that governs it. We don't have the law. And the Advertising Association of Ghana since 2012, we're pushing for the advertising bill to be adopted and to be passed by Parliament. It has gone through Cabinet twice. It's gone to the floor of Parliament once. But as it is down, we haven't seen the light. And it's heartening. That as a very important country, Ghana is the gateway of Africa, and you get to the airport, you leave the airport, you get to 37, you're getting to Tetekwashi interchange, and you wonder, are we living in a proper country? Are we living in a city worth its salt?
Before I allow you leave, kindly tell us what you want the president to do in this matter.
So we made certain asks. First, the MMDA should halt issuing any further permit for any billboards to be erected. Second, we are calling on the authorities to insist that all billboards would have to be tagged. We need to know who owns the billboards. And again, by account, about 20 to 30% of the billboards are empty, meaning that no one is interested in advertising, but the metal are still sticking on the ground. So we want the halting of permits. We want all billboards to be tagged, and we have a plan which we're going to show on Tuesday.
Right,
a plan that is based on technology, based on data, based on knowledge and skill, and we are going to present, to the public to see that there's a plan. And if the authorities that be are interested in yoking, with us to find a lasting solution, we are willing, to share all these facilities that we have.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ackah. There, we are looking forward to that press conference on Tuesday. But that was the president of the Advertising Association of Ghana, Mr. Andrew Ackah, speaking there. Let's move away.